Hello, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the discussion forum for this week. This is the week 2 discussion forum about the Denny's commercial and the Flintstones Winston's commercial. There is some misunderstanding about what we're doing here. Now, when I make a statement in the discussion forum, such as the one we have this week, when the statement says basically, how could they ignore the health warnings in the Winston's thing, whereas now we've got clever commercials like Denny's haven't commercials come a long way. Those are not my opinions. Again, those are not my opinions, and I create that statement so you can tear it apart. Now, when I say criticize me, I mean criticize that statement. I don't mean criticize me personally. And because there is a unique type of argument when you criticize the person, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And so be very careful about that. You're criticizing the argument. Again, I created that statement merely as an example of something to criticize. Another thing, to get full points, you must follow the instructions. 2 of the instructions are you must find a YouTube ad and discuss it a little bit, a YouTube cigarette ad from the 50s or 60s, and discuss it a little bit. And you also must discuss how my blatant statement doesn't really work very well. I should say whether you agree with it or whether you disagree with it. And if you disagree with it, you have to say something about how it fails a critical thinking concept. Whichever way you go, you have to discuss critical thinking somewhat. You have to get into this book and mention something from this book. Specifically, page 25. Page 25, the glittering generality. Be sure you've read chapter 3 before you do this discussion forum. Page 25, the glittering generality. The propagandist makes broad, sweeping statements, usually ones with complex and far-reaching ramifications, but he ignores the complexity and the ramifications. The glittering generality is safe. How can someone be criticized when he offers no specifics? But you are supposed to criticize my statement. Again, you don't criticize me. You don't say, how can a college professor with a couple of degrees make such a stupid statement? That's not the purpose here, because I didn't make a stupid statement. I created a statement which I do not necessarily believe in for you to find fault with by following certain critical thinking guidelines. So be sure you do that. But now if you do attack me, well, it's very good that we are talking about that. If you do attack me, because then it is a different type of argument right here from chapter 6, irrelevance. Chapter 6, irrelevance, and that argument, and I love the title of that, argumentum ad hominem. Again, argumentum ad hominem, from the Latin attacking the man, hominem, man. The argument directed against the speaker, I'm the speaker, rather than towards what the speaker is saying. An example of this type of appeal is the abusive ad hominem argument. The personality of someone is criticized or attacked instead of what the person is saying. The theory is something like this. X is proposing Y, but X is a scoundrel, or X has done something that merits our disapproval. Therefore, if we disapprove of X or what X has done, then we must disapprove of what X is saying. So be very careful when we're doing these, because we're going to be doing a few of these throughout the semester of these critical thinking exercises where I will throw out a statement. Again, the statement, I may or may not believe it. I'm creating the statement for the purpose of this class and for the purpose of critical thinking and the use of this critical thinking book. If you have not yet purchased this book, run. Do not walk. Run to the bookstore and pay your only $12, the cheapest book you'll buy this semester, I hope. And get this book. Read chapter 3. This is a critical part of this class. Critical thinking is a critical part of this class. Hey, hey, hey. So, get to work on those discussion forums. There have already been some very good ones posted. Be sure they're up to 200 words and get your 2 responses in. Remember, they have no text speak. Capitalize your I's and be sure you're adding information from Gula, chapter 3.